The narrative that divides our diets into good and bad foods is not only oversimplified, it's misleading, counterproductive, and often emotionally damaging. While well-intentioned, this binary approach to nutrition can contribute to disordered eating, shame, and confusion, without actually helping people build sustainable, healthy habits. Obesity is a complex, long-term condition influenced by a wide web of physiological, psychological, social, and environmental factors. Reducing it to the idea of simply avoiding bad foods sets people up for failure by ignoring context, individual needs, and the powerful role of consistency and behavior over time. At its core, food is more than a list of nutrients or calories. It is cultural, emotional, social, and psychological. Labeling a cookie or a slice of pizza as bad implies that eating it is a moral failing, a message that can breed guilt, secrecy, or even rebellion. People may avoid foods they love, only to binge on them later in a moment of emotional vulnerability. Others may restrict themselves for days, believing they're being good, only to overeat in a social setting or when stress hits. These cycles don't stem from a lack of knowledge. They arise from the pressure to conform to rigid food rules that ignore how real life works. This all-or-nothing mindset often drives more harm than the food itself. Research shows that restrictive attitudes toward eating, where foods are forbidden or vilified, can actually increase preoccupation with those very foods, heighten cravings, and decrease dietary satisfaction. In many cases, the psychological weight of guilt can be more damaging than the occasional indulgence. Ironically, when people stop labeling foods as bad, they often become less likely to overeat them because the emotional charge around them is gone. This is especially true in children who learn their food attitudes from adults. Teaching that some foods are bad can create lifelong confusion about hunger, satisfaction, and self-control. Furthermore, the impact of any food on health depends heavily on frequency, quantity, and overall diet quality. Eating a donut occasionally within an otherwise balanced, nutrient-rich diet is not remotely the same as consuming ultra-processed foods as a staple. Context matters. One meal does not define a person's health, just as one missed workout does not erase fitness. Health outcomes are determined by long-term patterns, not isolated moments. A handful of chips on a Friday night doesn't undo a week of nutrient-dense meals, unless it triggers a spiral of shame and binge eating brought on by perfectionist food rules. Even more importantly, the good versus bad food framework often fails to consider individual metabolic needs. For someone with diabetes, refined sugar may need to be minimized. For an athlete, simple carbohydrates may be essential for performance. Someone recovering from an eating disorder may be encouraged to eat previously forbidden foods in order to heal psychologically. A person with digestive issues may need to avoid foods that are healthy for others. In short, food cannot be universally categorized as good or bad because its effect depends on the person, the situation, and the body in question. Cultural bias also plays a role. Traditional foods from various cultures may be labeled bad by Western standards, not because of evidence, but because they don't fit neatly into a commercialized health ideal. Foods like white rice, coconut milk, or fried plantains are often demonized without understanding their role in cultural identity, tradition, and balance. This moral labeling reinforces food insecurity and shame, especially in marginalized communities, while ignoring the systemic issues, such as access to fresh produce or time to cook, that influence dietary choices far more than willpower. Instead of promoting clean eating or food fear, we must shift the focus toward dietary patterns that are flexible, sustainable, and psychologically healthy. That means encouraging mindfulness, variety, and portion awareness, rather than demanding perfection. It means teaching people how to recognize hunger and fullness cues, how to enjoy treats without guilt, and how to build meals that nourish the body and soul. It means addressing emotional and stress-related eating without making food the enemy. This approach is not permissiveness, it's precision. True nutrition wisdom lies in understanding nuance, not drawing hard lines. Encouraging balanced, intuitive eating doesn't mean denying the existence of foods that may contribute to chronic illness when eaten in excess. It means placing those foods in the right context and equipping people with tools to moderate rather than eliminate. It means choosing health-supportive behaviors over fear-driven rules. Ultimately, obesity is not caused by a single bad food, nor solved by eliminating one from the diet. It results from the accumulation of small choices, often made under conditions of stress, exhaustion, misinformation, and limited access. Fixating on individual foods distracts us from the real solutions: improving food environments, supporting mental health, increasing access to movement, and cultivating a more compassionate, realistic relationship with food. The path forward requires replacing food fear with food literacy, guilt with curiosity, and restriction with resilience. Only then can we begin to build health, not on shame or rules, but on informed, empowered, and sustainable change.